Hey, how can I help you?
I have something here that I think you're going to be very interested in. This is Nikola Tesla's very first prototype motor, built in 1887.
That's really, really cool.
What is Tesla?
Tesla made more contributions to our way of life today than any other engineer or scientist in recorded history. I decided to come here today to the pawn shop to see if they would be interested in buying my Tesla prototype motor. This motor should be worth $1 million. In today's economy, I am trying to sell this motor for $250,000.
How did you find this?
This motor was made by Tesla's assistant, and he sent it to William A. Anthony, who is the professor of electrical engineering at Cornell. Tesla wanted Anthony's endorsement. This motor stayed in the vaults at Cornell until a couple of people recognized this as something interesting, and I bought it from them.
Tesla was probably the smartest man of the 19th century. He basically invented the electricity we use in homes. He invented alternating current.
That's right.
If this is actually Tesla's first motor, it's like finding the lost ark for technology buffs. It would also mean it's worth an incredible amount of cash.
Depending on which of these switches you closed first or second, the rotor would rotate this way or rotate this way, which is the basis of all alternating current motors.
What's that mean?
Okay. Before this, they had direct current, like battery power. DC current was only good for a mile or two. As opposed to alternating current, the electricity could go 100 miles in a wire. It was just much more efficient. Do you understand?
Sure.
Nikola Tesla was obsessed with electricity, and his greatest invention was the alternating current motor and generator. He's without a doubt one of the greatest inventors of all time. How much did you want for it?
$250,000.
I mean, it doesn't sound like a out-of-this-world number if it's Tesla's original motor. But I have to have someone I know tell me what it is before I start talking numbers. So let me make some phone calls. All right?
You got it.
I'll be right back.
All right. Thank you. I am totally convinced that this is the original. If they want to bring in an expert to verify it or whatever, I'm happy with that. That's fine.
Oh, I spotted Mark.
Hey, Chum.
The guys normally call me down here when they have an unusual historical piece, because after 35 years of running museums, there isn't much I haven't seen at one point or another.
This man believes he has Nikola Tesla's original induction motor.
Interesting. Tesla is one of those characters out of the 19th century that everybody should be aware of. You know, the amount of change that he brought to our lives that we're still dealing with today. It was Tesla's design that created the first major power plants. In fact, they used Tesla's designs to create the power plant at the bottom of Niagara Falls. What makes you think that this is Tesla's prototype?
Because it came from William A. Anthony, who's the professor of electrical engineering at
Cornell, right. Mm-hmm.
Because it follows exactly the patent description of May 4 of 1888.
He did a design for an engine. He actually did two, sent both of them to Professor Anthony. And Professor Anthony tested them. He was so impressed that he went to the American Institute for Electrical Engineers and talked them into inviting Tesla to come in and speak. And this is an image from his talk. When Tesla spoke, this is the motor that he demonstrated. Nikola Tesla is one of the most important people in the history of electrical use in the history of the modern world. In the account, Professor Anthony is brought up on stage and was asked to speak about what Tesla was saying. And that's where I think I have some bad news for you. Professor Anthony said, these appear to be the same motors that I tested, so they weren't left behind at Cornell. But what I think you have here is probably the 19th century teaching version.
I know you've done your research, but I respectfully disagree. The design of this, which matches the patent, far exceeds the engineering design in this illustration. I think this precedes that motor.
We have a different opinion. That's going to happen. Unless you found a picture of Tesla holding this, it's going to be very, very hard to prove.
Thanks for coming in, Mark. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
There's nothing I can do with it. I mean, I gotta respect Mark's opinion, and if he doesn't believe it's Tesla's, I'm not gonna buy it. I'm definitely disappointed that I'm not going to have the lost ark of technology in my shop. I'm just glad I didn't drop $250,000 on some teacher's visual aid. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. I think the guys made a huge mistake today. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I know they're going to regret it.
What do we have here?
This is the rarest, most significant Star Wars prototype in the world. This is a one-of-a-kind rocket-firing Boba Fett, and it is something I love more than anything.
Okay, but obviously there's a dollar figure that you love more than this thing.
I came to the pawn shop today to sell the 1979 Toy Fair prototype of Boba Fett. It is a rocket-firing Boba Fett action figure that was never actually mass-produced. I'm here to sell the figure today because I've owned it for many years, and the time has come for me to pass the figure on to another diehard Star Wars collector.
This is pretty amazing. Do you know anything about it?
This was actually displayed at the 1979 Toy Fair in New York City, and it is the only carded rocket-firing Boba Fett in the world. Basically, back in 1979, they promoted this figure as a rocket-firing Boba Fett. It has a spring mechanism in the back of the figure where it actually projects and shoots this little tiny rocket out of its back. But at the last minute, Kenner realized that little rocket is a choking hazard and could actually go down a child's throat, and they could choke to death on it. The rocket in the back was glued down.
Okay.
And everybody was just beyond upset.
That is really neat. So this is Boba Fett. Boba Fett was the
Bounty hunter.
bounty hunter that went after he went after Han Solo, right?
Bounty hunter did go after Han Solo, correct.
Okay. I've seen Star Wars like 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's over the course of like 40 years, so.
I understand.
The Star Wars films are probably the most successful series of films in the history of the world. And I'm sure there's plenty of fans that would pay insane money for this prototype. I just hope his price isn't from a galaxy far, far away. All right, so what price do you want for this priceless item?
I am asking $150,000 firm.
Okay. Since I have never even heard of this,
Most people haven't.
let me call my Star Wars nerd, okay?
I would love to meet him.
All right, give me a few minutes and I will get him down here and you guys can nerd out.
Looking forward to it, thanks. I'm always interested in hearing another expert's opinion on Star Wars collectibles, and I would love to hear what, this expert has to say.
So apparently people like you get really excited over this.
Absolutely.
So obviously you know about this.
Yeah, of course I know. As a Star Wars aficionado, everybody knows this figure. First debuted in 1979, Toy Fair. This was the prototype. And, Boba Fett is really, literally the most famous character in Star Wars. I mean, he might even be more popular than Darth Vader. Boba Fett was this really menacing bounty hunter. He had this big blaster. He has a jetpack. He could fire rockets from his arm. He's a renegade, and he's going after one big bounty, and that's Han Solo.
So is it real?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Can I take a look at this?
Sure.
First of all, we see the back. This was the double-sided tape from the display at the Toy Fair, so that's pretty cool. When you turn it back around, this was kind of the mock-up. If you look here, you could see how they changed it a little bit. They altered it a little bit. The artwork's a little different.
The fireball is completely different.
Right. This is the holy grail of Star Wars toy collecting. It's
Correct.
right here, and it's in your store.
All right, so what do you think I could sell it for?
The extreme rarity of this is just off the charts. I mean, it's one of one we're talking about here. Minimal $125,000.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Since you're in the market today, I've got some stuff that you might be interested in.
I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
I mean, Star Wars makes money.
Okay, good. I'll
Okay.
see you later today.
See you later, man.
Yep, take care.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah,
Thank you
nice
for your
to see you.
help.
Take care. This is the only Boba Fett rocket-firing toy. With all the movies coming out and with just what Star Wars keeps doing, I see this thing keep going up in value through the years.
So you're firm at 150.
I'm firm at $150,000. It is a bargain.
I'm not going to buy this for an investment. I'm going to buy this to resell it.
I understand.
So I'd give you 100 grand for it.
I'm sorry, I can't do 100 grand.
Well, if you change your mind, I got 100 grand.
I thank you very much for the offer, but I'm going to have to say no.
Okay. Thanks for coming in, though, man.
Very
I
nice
appreciate
meeting you.
it.
Thank you very much. I feel that the expert's opinion is a little low. Unfortunately, the offer of $100,000 is a bounty I cannot accept.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going just great, thank you.
What can I help you with?
Well, I brought a lighter. I brought a 1936 Zippo prototype.
Okay. You say this is a prototype?
Yes, it is.
I'm not wearing my glasses.
You want to borrow mine? I collect both pocket and table lighters. I found this lighter about 5 years ago at an antique show. I'm looking to sell the lighter because, like anything else, out with the old, in with the new.
This is cool. I mean, Zippo's got a really, really neat history. I mean, they're still made in the USA. And the guy who started Zippo realized that every other lighter that was made at the time was junk. It really was. And he came up with a design for a windproof lighter. Really quality. You could light it with one hand. You could put it in your pocket. I think it was $2 when they came out.
That is correct.
That was like 75 bucks in today's money, probably. Back in the 1930s, you could be a rich guy and buy a gold lighter, but the fact of the matter was, they weren't that good of lighters. And Zippos were windproof, they worked all the time, and you could throw it in your pocket. It's just good old American ingenuity at its finest, and I'm interested. The paint is not in great shape, but it's not dented and dinged, and that's usually the really big thing with condition on Zippos. It's definitely one of the older ones. It's the square-cornered one.
This may be a one of a kind.
All right, so how much you want for this thing?
$82.5.
$8,250?
Yes.
I used to buy and sell them all the time. There's still a huge collector's market for these things.
Yeah.
Certain ones are worth a lot of money. And now, this is actually a prototype from 1936, you said?
That is correct.
I mean, you really have something here, but I need to have someone look at it. I actually have a friend who works at Zippo,
Wonderful.
okay? Let me give her a call and get her down here. She'll know 10 times as much about either one of us about this thing.
Great.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Thank you. I would love to have an expert take a look at it. I'm not worried about the expert saying that it is not authentic, because I know it is.
He says this is a prototype Zippo lighter from 1936.
Wow. I've never seen one like this before. So I brought some prototypes, and I brought one actual production so I could do some comparisons.
Okay.
If you compare these lighters, the windscreen has 14 holes, just like this production one. So this is one of the clues. And the rivet that holds the wheel in place is a hollow one, just like this one that I brought. But I've never seen a lighter with this black paint before. And the paint on the prototypes was an experimental paint and was not typical for the lighters that were produced during 1936. They had the chrome finish on there.
So this was a prototype that was never sold, so it was different than the production model.
It was.
If it was just an experimental model, how did they get out on the market?
That's a really good question. What I think may have happened is Mr. Blaisdell founded the company in 1932, produced the first lighter in 1933. But Mr. Blaisdell had a difficult time getting the world to know about his great invention. So he used to give them to bus drivers that would pass through town and encourage the bus drivers to tell other people about the Zippo lighters, how quality they were in the lifetime warranty.
Okay. So this prototype, everything checks out to be 1936.
Let me check the patent. It does. That's perfect.
Okay, cool.
The company founder instituted the bottom stamp as a quality control measure. But what that actually allows collectors to do is to narrow down when these lighters were manufactured.
What do prototype lighters from 1936 go for?
You know, without the original packaging, between $3,000 and $4,000.
All right, you're the best.
Thank you. If Rick is able to get this for a good price, I think he should get it. We have so many collectors that would love to get their hands on a lighter like this.
Okay, I think it's deeply cool, and it's in better shape than what the historian has. So, would you take $3,500 for it?
I'll take $4,000 cash.
How about 38?
I'll meet you in the middle, 39.
I might be crazy, but you got a deal.
All right.
Okay, cool. Let's, I'll meet you right over there. We'll do some paperwork.
You got it.
My dad carried one of those in his pocket for probably 40 years.
It is a fair price. I know that he has to be able to resell it for a reasonable profit, and that's what happens with commerce.
What do we got here?
Brought some old sneakers in for you.
Awesome. Jordans? Let's see these bad boys.
No, that's Roberto Clemente?
Yes.
These are cool. I like these. What are you doing?
I love how new shoes smell. Smell it. Smells
No.
Clemente's pretty much the best pirate baseball player ever. Did so many great things for the community and for baseball. Basically, they're the shoes say Roberto Clemente on the box and on the shoe. They're unworn and they're in mint condition. The first 2 times I was here, I was very successful making 2 deals, and I'm hoping the 3rd time's a charm.
I know a little bit about Roberto Clemente. He was like the first Puerto Rican guy in the major leagues. I think it was like 53 or 54 he went in, right when they were starting to integrate the league.
1955.
Okay. And it had happened to have an amazing career. You know, he was Puerto Rican, but Nicaragua had an earthquake. And he actually flew down there, get a bunch of relief supplies, and the plane crashed.
Right.
And the weird thing is his body was never found.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and just a really great career. Ended up going right into the Hall of Fame. And the shoes, I know nothing about.
I heard that they were prototypes. I mean, he died, so they figured who's gonna buy his shoes.
Roberto Clemente was the pride of Puerto Rico. And if these really were the prototype, I know there's a buyer out there for them. There's one thing in this world that I have learned from Chumlee, and that is there's a market for sneakers. You're the one who knows everything about shoes.
Yeah, I'd never seen them before. These are pretty cool. They got some nice little leather going on in here. It's real bad quality, though. The stitching's not even the same. You could tell they were just samples.
I think they're bitchin'. I like them. They're obviously brand new. They don't look like they've ever been worn. Now, I'm assuming you want to sell these? What do you want to do?
Well, I'd like to sell them, but my biggest thing was they're prototypes. And every shoe that I've seen, they come in blue, they come in red. And this is the only pair that I know of in Pittsburgh Pirates yellow.
Well, they're not yellow. They're more like
Orange.
They're definitely not yellow. That's like way farther around in the color wheel. How much you want for them?
Air Jordan prototypes sell for $100,000 on the internet.
Now, I didn't ask you what Air Jordans sell for.
Well,
How much do you want for these?
I was thinking that a fair price would be $2,500 would be fair.
Okay, I have no idea. I got a buddy of mine.
Okay.
I call him in a lot when I deal with expensive sports stuff.
Sure.
Maybe he can get a clue on what these things are worth.
Okay.
Hang out for a little bit, have an intellectual conversation with this young man, and I will be right back.
What's up, dude?
Oh, you do that? Bam. That's fine.
No kidding, man. These are awesome. I mean, these are 1972 Roberto Clemente. I mean, Hall of Famer, hero, MVP, All-Star. Clemente was all those things.
Apparently he was in the fashion industry as well.
Well, this is really cool because, you know, obviously shoes took off in the 80s with the Air Jordans, and these are 1972, endorsed by Clemente. These were way ahead of their time.
Did he pass away in 71 or 72?
He passed away after the season in 72. Plane was overweight, apparently, and it crashed into the ocean. Although his body was never found, I mean, it was a tragic day for baseball. Roberto Clemente is quite possibly one of the most beloved and best outfielders ever to play baseball. You know, he played 18 seasons for the Pittsburgh Pirates, won 2 World Series championships, plus he was the first Latin American ever to be enshrined into the Hall of Fame. First of all, these look in like brand new condition, and also we had the original box.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, it's amazing. The soles, everything with the facsimile signature, the number 21, and these are exceedingly rare.
Okay. What the hell are they worth?
Well, I mean, pretty much anything that touches Roberto Clemente's body is gonna have tens of thousands of dollars of values, like jerseys and bats. Now, obviously, these were never worn by Clemente, but they're just as rare as some of his, you know, items. Top condition with the box and everything, you're looking at about $1,200, $1,500 for these.
Okay. He was wanting a little bit more.
Yeah, don't we all?
All right, well, thanks, man.
You got it. These sneakers are only around for about 1 year. They discontinued them for some reason after Clemente passed away. Had they continued to produce them, I think they really would have done well in the market.
What's your bottom dollar on them?
You're gonna laugh, but my bottom dollar is exactly what he said, $1,200.
They might be one of a kind, but there are thousands and thousands of one-of-a-kind things out there in the world. Like, it'd be like $700 for them.
Right, see, I would be definitely taking a loss, and to trade something like this for something so common as money, I really wouldn't want to do that.
So common as money?
If you think about it, money is super common, and these are super uncommon.
I'll tell you what, I'll go $800. That's my top dollar where I feel comfortable buying
Right.
it.
To me, maybe I'm the right owner for these shoes. To me, they're worth more than that.
Okay. Well, if you change your mind, if your wife makes you sell them or anything.
All right.
Have a good day, man.
All right, thank you, I appreciate it. I didn't make a deal this time, but I got perseverance on my side, so I'll definitely be back.
What in the world is this?
These are 2 prototype pictures from the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland.
Weren't we stranded in a haunted house once for a while? Our chair was stuck?
I think that was Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
I'm here today at the pawn shop to try and sell my Disneyland Haunted Mansion prototype pictures. I picked up these prototypes at a estate sale for a gentleman who worked for Disney many years. I'm hoping to sell the men in quicksand for $150 and the woman sitting on the tombstone for $200.
These are amazing. The Haunted Mansion, it was like everything Disney, it was just way over the top. They had the animatronics in it, the absolutely amazing special effects in it.
Everybody kind of got freaked out at the end when there was a ghost sitting in the chair next to you. Walt Disney just constantly would come up with these wild ideas. The Haunted Mansion, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, Frontierland, Tom Sawyer's Island, Tomorrowland. You know, all these things that were just basically unthinkable.
So, what's the story with them being from the Haunted Mansion?
A gentleman that worked for Disney for a long time in their maintenance department, he saw them in a warehouse and asked his boss if he could take them, and they said yes.
Okay.
So you're saying these were prototypes of art that was supposed to be on the walls in there?
Yeah. These are like the prototypes that were shown to Walt before they were actually made into the actual things that are in the elevator room.
Okay. So how much you want for these?
For the men in the quicksand, I'd like $150. And for the big picture with the lady sitting on the headstone, I'd like $200.
Okay. Any prop from Disneyland is worth money. I mean, some of the original paintings that were in the haunted house have gone for as high as much as $300,000. Yeah. Okay, they've sold for auction at that price.
Right.
Okay. But like, there's a lot of weird things going on here. It's really weird that they're pasted together like this. Personally, I don't think these are prototypes.
Okay.
But I could be wrong, so let me call up a guy. He knows all things Disney. Let me get him down here, and hopefully he can prove me wrong.
Great, thank you.
All right, I'll be right back.
All right.
And the haunted house even terrified me when I was a little kid. What do you think?
Well, you know, you call me about Haunted Mansion, I come right away. I got to tell you, it's one of the hottest collectibles there is in Disneyana. And these look a lot like the stretch paintings that are in the elevator in the Haunted Mansion. These paintings were designed by a gentleman named Mark Davis, who was an Imagineer at the park, and he was an animator before that. Animated Bambi was one of his more famous features. And these paintings are iconic parts of the Haunted Mansion. When you're in that elevator and these paintings start to stretch, this is the most memorable part of the ride. When the elevator started, you would see just her, you know, and as the elevator went down, you'd get the story of what happened to her husband or what happened to this guy in the quicksand. Great iconic images from the park. Really, really fun. In this particular case, you're saying they were used for?
They were prototypes to show Walt.
Okay. Davis would paint the originals, which are about this big and about this wide. Painters or Imagineers would look at Davis's images and then paint a replica of them on canvas that would go into the ride. But there's no reason to do a prototype that has a man's head on the top of the frame, because that's not how the gag works. So that wouldn't be the prototype for it. And when we look at this, we would say, well, why would they cut this out and put this together like a puzzle when they could just paint it? What I can tell you, by looking at these and knowing their history, unfortunately, the quality of the artwork is not that of Mark Davis, and it's not that of Disney. The materials they used and the way they put it together is not the way they would have done it there at Imagineering. My guess with something like this, and the reason it would be in a Disney warehouse, maybe these were a decoration for a party, maybe these were used at some sort of event there at the park, and then just put into storage.
So I'm assuming it's not worth anything?
Unfortunately, I don't see these being worth anything, especially in the condition they're in.
Okay.
No, I appreciate you coming down.
Thank you, man. Thanks for
All right,
having me.
thanks, man.
You guys take care.
Hey.
Okay. Unfortunately, I'm just not going to be able to give you anything for them.
I understand.
Have a good one.
You too.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. So what do we got in the box?
It is a prototype for the unreleased Kenner starting lineup Andre Agassi action figure.
Okay. There was actual tennis action figures?
They never came out.
Okay. But it's Andre Agassi. I mean, we have a lot in common.
Sure.
In the 80s, we both had hair.
Oh, sure. I'm here today at the pawn shop to try to sell my prototype Andre Agassi action figure. This figure is one of two known to exist. These were supposed to be destroyed after Kenner failed to lock down the license very close to production. And I found this in the basement of an ex-Kenner employee. I'm a big collector and I buy and sell a lot of prototypes, and I'd like to sell them today. I'm hoping to get $10,000 from my Andre Agassi prototype action figure.
It's definitely interesting. I mean, Agassi had a pretty cool career. He's a Vegas local. Been playing tennis since he was like 2 years old. He would joke around and say he's an 8th grade dropout because, you know, by the 8th grade, that's all he did was play tennis. But in the 90s, I mean, he was unbelievable. I think he won 8 Grand Slams. So what company made these?
These were intended to be released by Kenner.
Okay.
So he was the flagship player for the intended Kenner starting lineup tennis line.
All right, I'm really intrigued with this. I think it's sort of fascinating. You can tell it's probably a prototype.
Absolutely, it's a test of the molds, and the color was irrelevant. You know, he would not have had clear legs when they produced him.
Yeah, that would have been a little weird.
Yeah.
Got a certificate of authenticity here. Apparently it's authenticated by a guy named Tom Derby.
That's correct.
How much do you want for it?
I'm asking $10,000.
$10,000. All right. I don't deal in a lot of super expensive toys. So I got my toy guy. I'll get his opinion on it.
Okay.
All right. And I'll be right back.
Thank you.
The only Grand Slam I've ever gotten is at a breakfast restaurant. Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Hey, Rick, what's going on?
Hello.
How you doing, man?
Like I told you on the phone, we have a action figure that's half Andre Agassi, half Invisible Man.
Yeah. Cool prototype, man. You know, I love the hair on this figure. So this specific item is believed to have been intended for what was called Timeless Legends. And that line was really cool because it did a lot of like secondary sports. You had boxing, you had some hockey figures, you had some golfers that were involved in this. There was supposed to be some tennis made. And in fact, Arthur Ashe was one of the tennis players that was on that list that was going to be made. And this is pretty unique.
So what do you think?
It looks like what I would expect one of these test shot or first shot prototypes to look like. You can see that the different colors of plastic that they use, that's done intentionally so they can identify quickly what they wanted to make changes on. They would have left this toy unassembled so that way if there was something they wanted to fix on it, they could take that piece off, discuss it, mark it up, put it on a mock-up sheet, and send it off to get the changes made.
Okay, so he has paperwork from this individual right here, and he wants a ridiculous amount of money. So what do you think?
Well, I'll tell you first, CIB is highly, highly respected in the industry. They're the authority as far as authenticating toys, especially when it's something like an item like this that might be a one-off.
Okay.
And from my understanding, the only one that actually is out and available on the market would be this specific Andre Agassi. Within the last 10 years, there's no indication that anybody has a painted production piece or anything like that.
Okay, so bottom line, what do you think it's worth?
It's hard to really assign a solid market for this because it's really the only one that exists. We can only compare it to other items that are like it. And based on that, $1,200 is what I'd look to get for it.
A lot lower than what I was asking.
Okay. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Okay, so Far cry from 10 grand.
Yeah, we're pretty far apart.
So my big time offer is 600 bucks.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that today.
Okay, I mean, what is your best price?
Yeah, I've seen other starting lineup prototypes sell for $4,000 and $5,000. I would want to get $3,000 minimum, so we're pretty far apart.
Yeah, we're way too far apart. All right, if you change your mind, come back and see me.
Cool, thank you.
I don't think the offer was out of bounds at all.
How you doing?
How's it going? What do we got here?
I got something I think would interest you. It's the original prototype of the game Battleship.
Okay. My brother cheated in this game all the time. He'd be like trying to be real sly and move your battleship around.
No cheating. I have the original prototype of the game board Battleship. I have a little store in my hometown, and a gentleman came by, and he didn't know what it was. When I opened it, I knew it had to have been the prototype. I was hoping to get 10,000.
I find it interesting. Board games are cool. Battleship was a really big thing. I mean, I had a Battleship game I got in probably the early 70s. The hardest one to find was the tugboat because that was just like 2 holes.
Right, 2 holes, yeah.
And there was a bunch of different variations on this game. It was going all the way back to the 1930s. I think it was called Salvo or something like that.
Salvo was the name of it, yeah.
Salvo looked sort of almost identical to that.
Yeah.
And you had to draw your ships on it with a pencil.
Yeah.
So I think it was like 1967, Milton Bradley came out with Battleship. And you're saying this was the prototype?
Prototype.
How do we know this one is the prototype?
All the paperwork is here, and I have pictures.
Okay. This is a return letter from Parker Brothers. So basically it's a rejection letter. Some rudimentary instructions, and we have like a drawing of this.
Right.
How much do you want for this thing?
I'm asking 10,000 for it.
It's interesting. There's a really big market for them. I've never really had a prototype, but here's my issue. Board games were huge in the 50s and the 60s. We were talking these game companies probably got 100 submissions a day for different board games.
Right.
This is one of them. I think this was some guy who came up with a game really similar to Salvo, called it Sea Hunt, and he was trying to sell it to game companies and he didn't succeed. Basically, what you have here is a board game that a guy made in the 50s that was never sold. I do not think it's the prototype, and wouldn't be interested.
Okay.
All right, but thanks for coming in.
Yep.
I'm sorry I sunk your battleship. Have a good one.
You too. I'm going to do some more research and try to sell it online. That's basically what I'll do.
Can I help you? Yes, there's some Magic prototype cards. I think they might be of value.
Everybody loves Magic. Oh, this is the other kind of Magic.
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering cards. Hold on a second. Gotta fill it right here. Magic the Gathering's a role-playing card game that was developed in the 90s. It's pretty cool to look at the prototypes next to the finished cards. For example, fire-breathing creature. This is a little baby blowing fire. But no, when the card came out, it was much cooler. It was a dragon breathing fire.
I'm here at the pawn shop today to try to sell some Magic prototype cards. These Magic cards actually come from my uncle. He's a huge collector, and we found them in a box of his. These Magic cards are special because they're the only prototypes available. These are unique to the set and to the game itself. I'm looking to get as close to 25,000 as possible.
This is awesome. What was really cool about Magic the Gathering at the time, I believe it was the first card game that was meant to play and collect. What would happen, you know, when these came out is you would have your deck, I would have my deck, and we would battle each other. The game has evolved through time, but over 20 million people around the world play Magic. I mean, it is the most successful role-playing card game out there. So I see a lot of good stuff here. We have a unicorn summon, and over here we have the unicorn. Pretty cool. Ints, which looks like it turned into the iron root tree. I didn't realize you had so many of them here.
Yeah, I have quite a few.
So, what are you looking to do with these?
I'm looking to sell just the prototypes.
Okay, how much are you looking for?
25,000.
So here's the deal. You could easily have $25,000 here. You could have $200,000 here. I really just don't know. Trading card games are very collectible, and Magic the Gathering is the most expensive trading card game there is. This game has cards that are worth, you know, $100,000 in it. I just don't know what this is worth. So this is something I would like to get checked out by my expert. So what I think I'm gonna do is grab your number from you. I'm gonna need a couple days to see if I can set up a meeting with someone who actually knows about these. Then from there, we can talk about a price. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, that could work. Sounds good.
I'll meet you over there.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to make a deal today, but I'm willing to wait and see what could happen. I know that these cards are worth something, so hopefully patience will be a virtue.
Hey, Don, how's it going?
Hey, chum, how you been?
I'm good. Here's my boss, Rick.
Rick, how are you?
You have a store that just sells cards for these games?
That's it. It's a huge market. I get some of Chum's money here and there.
Hey, there's my guy right now. Harrison, how you doing?
Good.
Come on back here. Excited to see what you got.
So,
Let me put some gloves on for these.
These are the prototype cards I was telling you about.
So what you guys have here, these are the Gamma playtest cards.
The Gamma playtest cards.
Yeah. So basically, this is the first set of playtest cards that resembles the first set of Magic. The first one that really resembles what the game ended up looking like. These are the pieces of paper that they gave to roughly 40-ish people to test out Magic to make sure that it played right.
So are they real?
Well, I have one in my case here that is authenticated.
So it's been graded and authenticated.
This is a Time Walk. This is the card that Time Walk became. Time Walk, similar to that. To me, the print looks right, the stamp is right. Just because this is a collection of all these together, I would say that these are authentic.
So, these are collectible?
That's the magic question, isn't it? These are very collectible, yes. I would say that probably 90% of these got thrown in the trash before the game came out. These are incredibly rare. Most people that play Magic wouldn't even know that these exist.
Okay.
What kind of price are we looking at?
Because of how scarce these are, I would roughly say about $400 a piece.
And we got 27, right, Harrison?
Yes.
Rick, how much is that?
$10,800.
One thing I can say, because of how scarce these are, these almost cannot go down in value. These are a steadily increasing set.
I appreciate you looking at them. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let you guys talk.
So, you're asking $25,000. Don says they're worth $10,800. Would you take $6,200?
Gosh, that's kind of steep. Do you think we could do like 10,500 maybe?
No, that makes no sense. Sort of like the game.
Okay, well, yeah, in that case, I'm gonna probably have to pass.
7,500?
Gosh, well, I mean, based off what Don said with the value, you know, increasing every other year, I mean, I think I'd probably actually have to hold off. Sorry.
Well, Rick, looks like we're gonna have to go play with another deck. I got a Magic lesson set up next door.
A lesson to play this card game.
You'll probably be better than me, don't worry. Appreciate you, Harrison. Thanks for bringing them by.
Appreciate you as well.
Come on, Rick.
There wasn't any Magic happening here today, so I'm just gonna gather up my cards and head home.
So I guess it's your turn now?
All right, draw for turn. Just what I needed. Play my Mountain, which is a land. I'll play my Cavalcade of Calamity. I'll tap 2 mana. I will cast my enchantment spell and take 7 life points from you. Your turn. I'm pretty good at this game.
I have no idea what you just said.
To be honest with you, I just took 7 life points from you. What are you gonna do? Draw a card.
I mean, I don't even know if you're telling the truth.
1, 2, 3, so 7 points, yeah. Because he has 1 power here.
This is silly. I can't do this. It makes no sense to me.
Rick, you're my ride.
You wasted my evening.
I was trying to make you money.
Take a magic carpet.
So that means I won, right?
Hi.
What do we got here?
This is Batman Forever, the video game for Super Nintendo, and the prototype for the Batman Forever game.
I'm not a video game guy. Maybe I don't play them because I'm really bad at them, because every time I've tried. I like pinball, but...
I'm here at the pawn shop today to sell my Batman Forever Super Nintendo prototype with the original game. This prototype shows several stages of development that were used in production of the final Super Nintendo game. The prototype has actually been in my collection for about 5 years, and I was able to pick up the production copy about 2 years ago. I'm looking to get $5,000 today for both. If I make a sale today, I think I'll take my family on vacation somewhere fun.
It is kind of cool. The Batman Forever movie had Jim Carrey in it, Nicole Kidman in it. So this was mid-90s, so 95?
Yeah, 1995.
Trying to think, who played Batman?
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer, that's right. And he was actually a pretty good Batman. Jim Carrey did an amazing job.
Amazing job.
He was basically the movie.
Yeah.
How well did the video game do?
The video game had its ups and downs. The Super Nintendo version, which you're looking at right here, is a much harder game to find. So for Batman enthusiasts, this is definitely a staple for their collection.
Okay. Explain the prototype for me, because like that's a lot for a video game.
So this is the development circuit board that was used to develop the game, and each of these exposed EPROMs actually has a different version of the game that was used in the development of this final product right here.
Okay, all right. You're talking to a history nerd, not a tech nerd. I've never even seen one of these. I don't know nothing about one of these, okay? Hey, where did you get these?
I won this at an auction several years ago, and it was just something that I couldn't pass up. Because there's different versions on this, it's a really cool early stage prototype.
I mean, I'm interested in it. I mean, how much do you want for these?
I was looking for $5,000 for the pair.
Okay. I really wish Chumley was here. Okay, but I do have a guy I can call.
Okay.
And we'll go from there.
Sounds like a plan.
All right,
Thanks.
be right back.
What's up, Rick?
What's up, man?
Good to see you.
Hey, Dennis. How you doing, buddy?
Good.
All right, you guys know each other?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know this guy.
All right, well, this guy has got these.
That's cool. So this is a prototype. This is how they build a game. Typically, this stuff shouldn't get out to the public. As far as in terms of how rare video game prototypes are, how hard they are to acquire, when you're talking about older cartridge-based prototypes, typically those were in-house, and especially ones that have differences, that means it wasn't a final version. That's really unique to find, so you don't see them often, and it's cool when you do. Prototypes were usually kept internally or destroyed by Nintendo.
But you've seen them before.
Yeah, I mean, prototypes, they're technically one of one, right? They're unique. Is there still an existing prototype for every game out there? Probably not, but I'd say a majority of them do have it. But if you're talking about like really popular games and early prototypes, that stuff, like Zelda, Mario, that stuff's not out there. That stuff's really tough to find. Sometimes prototypes were sent out as like, especially once discs were cheaper, they would make a lot of them and they'd send them out to like game reviewers or people that they wanted to try it out. But typically by that point, they were more like final versions of the game. So it's pretty rare to find an earlier prototype.
Okay. So was this game a big seller?
This game is the Batman and Robin equivalent of the video games.
All right, so did not sell well.
It didn't do well. It might have sold okay just because of the tie-in, but the reviews and the reception were atrocious.
All right, so the big question, what's it worth?
As a set, I would say it's probably worth, you know, you have 300 here, 16, 1700 here, two grand for the set.
I understand where he's coming from, but my feeling on it is that it's so unique, it is hard to value.
I mean, I deal in unique things all the time.
It's got a cool history. How many people care about that, given the fact that it's an unpopular game? That's how you land on it.
Okay. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Thank you.
You got it.
Appreciate
Good
you,
luck.
bud.
Good luck.
Yep.
All right, so we're really far off of the price.
It would seem so.
Yeah. I'll give you like $1,200.
I don't think I could do $1,200 on it. I'd never be able to find something like this again. I appreciate the offer. I don't think I could do $1,200.
You know, I got my guy, and he says that's what they're worth, and that's what I can do.
I hear you. I appreciate your time, though.
All right, thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go.
I don't want to be two-faced, and I know Rick liked the Riddler, but I think his offer was more of a joker.
Hello.
Hey, how can I help you?
I'm looking to sell my prototype Furby.
It looks kind of like Gizmo.
He definitely does. He, though, has this 1,000-yard stare and it looks like he's screaming, but Vegas will do that to you. I am at the pawn shop and I'm looking to sell my prototype Furby. This Furby is unique because it is one of the unproduced color samples that was never made for the market. I picked it up from a former employee of Tiger more than 15 years ago who was selling out his entire collection of prototype action figures and anything he had. I am hoping to get $3,000 for this Furby.
Really cool. They were released in 1998 by Tiger Electronics. And the 90s were just that era where they were making these, you know, interactive electronic toys, and the Furby was like
kind of the pinnacle at the time of it because you could communicate with them in a sense, you know, and you would buy a Furby, it would be talking Furbish, which is kind of like baby talk, and then it would eventually learn English, and it had this little infrared laser right here. It could interact with other Furbies, so it was pretty smart, especially in 1998. It was like cutting edge. You mind if I take a closer look at it?
Absolutely.
I mean, just first touch, it just feels like something you would want to pet as it was talking to you, you know? Is it actually functionable as far as the eyes and mouth?
It is not a functionable model. The prototype stage that this was at was just to test the color patterns and the skin. There was no need for electronics. That was already developed. So they were just putting the skins on a variety of just empty bodies and showcasing how does this look.
Okay, and then what is this? Oh, this is a tag dated September 28th, 1999, so tells you exactly what it is, you know? You probably know you don't always get that with prototypes.
No, you do not.
A lot of the times you gotta guess. What are you looking to do with it?
I'm looking to sell it.
And how much are you looking to get?
Looking to get $3,000.
Okay, I really have no idea. Let me get someone to come take a look at it and figure out what it's worth.
Sounds good.
All right, I'll be right back.
Thank you. I'm very confident the expert will agree that it is a prototype. It needs a new home, and I could use the money for other prototype purchases.
What's up, chum?
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
Oh, this is what I called you about. This gentleman has what we both believe to be a prototype Furby.
Have you taught it to talk yet?
I love Chum the most.
Well, the Furbies were a cultural phenomenon. When they first came out, they could not keep them on the shelves. This toy was so sought after. And you gotta think that it rivaled the Game Boy, just to give you an idea of how popular it was. That it was this and the Game Boy in Christmas of '98.
You wanna take a look at it and tell me what you think?
Absolutely. There's different stages of Furby prototype. You would have ones where they were testing the electronics, the eye size, how the mouth worked. It's really light though, so it tells me there's no electronics in it. I don't know that I recall seeing a burgundy Furby, so that might have actually been something that they were testing. The tag is awesome, and that is a card that you want to have with this type of item, because the tag here actually tells us the code name for it. It says Fish 2. It tells you a little bit of information about the cost of the actual item. Very neat item, and yeah, it looks to me like it's a prototype.
How collectible are Furbies in today's market? Because they kind of had a short run.
There is a collector market for them. It's a niche market. You have to remember, in the late 90s, we were taught collector editions. Toy aisles were full of it. Limited edition of. When that happened, you had people that started buying toys, not only as a toy for their child, but they bought them as an investment.
All right, well, what kind of value do you think it has today?
There's hundreds of these prototypes out there, and you can imagine the reason there was is they had so many different color renditions. This particular prototype, I think you'd have no problem getting $1,800 for it.
Okay, well, I appreciate you coming down.
No problem.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, well, after hearing everything Steve had to say, I'm not trying to insult you here, but I'm gonna throw you an offer at $800.
Well, I know you have to make your money, and of course, more important than that is, I have to make my money. He is absolutely right. It is a niche market, but it is a strong market to my surprise, too. 800, though, is a little too tough for me with the experience that I have. I hate to say, I think I'm gonna have to pass on this.
Okay, I do think it's really cool. Thanks for bringing it in, and I hope you'll bring me back some more prototypes in the future.
Absolutely will.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Unfortunately, we couldn't complete the deal. We were just speaking different languages. We needed a Furby translator to work things out.
Okay, what do we got here?
I think it's a salesman sample from Bigelow Aerospace. Basically, this company tried to sell like a timeshare in space for businesses to do research.
Okay, so this was like some company that was going to build satellite stations and sell them to people.
Rent it to them.
Wouldn't you want your own space station?
Oh, yeah, always. I'm here at the pawn shop today to try to sell my Bigelow Aerospace salesman sample. The salesman sample is made out of aluminum, and it shows you all the characteristics that will happen in the real space station. I'm asking $700 for my Bigelow salesman sample.
It's really, really interesting. I think it's really cool. Where did you get this?
I go garage sale and look for stuff for my man cave, and I came across this at a garage sale.
So it's a salesman sample of what?
It's a prototype so you can see what it looks like in space.
And this is?
That's the book I got with it when I purchased it.
Okay. Obviously, this company had the business model of, we're gonna make these modules right here, push them into space, and you get your own Skylab or whatever. And this is like one of the models, like lease this to do like space experiments.
Yeah.
All right. I'm kind of baffled. I mean, I've not heard of Bigelow Aerospace. 2011 seems a little early because I don't think SpaceX and them were doing stuff like this back then. But, I mean, I imagine that they were planning on eventually getting this thing in space and charging these leasing rates, 195 million bucks.
Could be.
How much do you want for it?
I'd like to get 700 if I could.
Okay. I mean, I have a million questions. It's
Yeah.
like I've never seen one before. So if you can hang out for a little bit, I'll go call somebody and get him down here because I actually know a guy who probably knows everything about this. All right, I'll be right back.
Okay.
The beard of knowledge.
Hey, Rick.
Mark.
How you doing?
Amazing. This young man right here has this flux capacitor.
No, it's a Bigelow Aerospace model. That's cool.
Never heard of him.
Really?
I mean, all I do is I got this book here where they'll charge you like $1 gazillion to rent one.
Yes. Well, that was the whole idea behind this. I mean, you know who Robert Bigelow is, right?
Sounds familiar.
Robert Bigelow owned Budget Suites, and he decided to get into aerospace and commercial aerospace. So he came up with the idea of an expandable unit that you could shoot into space. What he was looking at was a commercial space station where you could rent time in the space station. This way, it would actually be cheaper than to pay NASA for time on the International Space Station. The idea was not necessarily bad, but this actual concept got canceled when he worked out a deal with NASA to actually build a different version of this that did go into space and is actually connected to the International Space Station. I'm really curious, where did you get this?
I got it at the garage sale a couple miles from here.
Why do I never stop at these garage sales?
Well, thanks, man. I know everything about it now. You're the best.
Thank you. And thank you for letting me see it. Good to meet you.
You too.
I told you he'd know everything there is to know about it. I mean, I'll give you 300 bucks. I'm not even gonna negotiate. That's what I'm gonna do. Here's the reason why. It's like, if I didn't know about it, that means like almost everybody doesn't know about it.
Yeah, I realize that. I think I'm gonna have to pass because I'll just keep it on my shelf in my man cave for a while then.
Okay, if you change your mind,
I
bring
know
it
where you
back.
live.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I've got this Colt Patterson that I'm interested in selling. I think this might be a prototype.
That's really, really cool.
I came to the pawn shop today to try to sell my Colt Patterson prototype. I'd like to buy a house closer to my son who lives in California. I would hope to get somewhere close to $100,000.
Where did you get this?
The auction company had this on the internet, and when they were advertising it, they called it a Colt belt model. And from the picture, it just didn't look like a belt model because of the location of these two screws in the center of the frame, which tells me that it maybe was not one of the guns that was a production model.
An actual Colt prototype would be a big deal. This is the gun that started it all. This was the first reliable revolver. For hundreds of years, they were trying to make multi-shot guns. But the problem was they were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
There was the pepper boxes. It was 5 or 6 barrels.
Yeah.
And you had to hand rotate them after every shot, which by the 6th shot, the entire thing was like blazing hot. And if you touched it, you would burn your hand. And they just never got the design right until this came along.
Mm-hmm.
Samuel Colt is one of the biggest names in guns. His multiple-shot revolver first got big with the Texas Rangers. They used them to conquer the last remaining sections of the Wild West. I mean, it's a neat design. It was made to just fit in your pocket without getting hung up. That's why the trigger tucked in, and then once you pulled it back, you were ready to go. I can tell you what, it's got very little use on it. Generally, these things were beat to death. I've never seen a Colt Patterson prototype before. This would be like a holy grail item for gun collectors. How much did you pay for it?
About $4,000.
Okay. My big concern is it's not real. The wear pattern right here
Yeah.
should be just as bad as it is over here.
I think it's a prototype because of the position of those screws.
If it's a prototype, it could be worth anywhere between $50,000 and $100,000. Let me get someone down here to take a look at this thing.
Okay. I'm really anxious to see what he can tell me about the gun. Hopefully it is a good one. We'll find out.
Hey, Rick.
Jimerson, how's it going?
All right, here you might have a Colt Patterson there.
Maybe. But this guy right here is absolutely convinced it's a prototype.
Okay. I'm an antique firearms appraiser, and I appraise firearms that are made before 1898. Well, there's probably no gun company in the world that's more recognizable than Samuel Colt. Basically, he made his fame by developing the Colt revolver.
Yeah.
Colt had a factory in Patterson, New Jersey, and basically that's where these guns were made, and that's why they're called a Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Sam Colt was one of the people that helped create the idea that every family, every person should have a gun for self-defense. I'm sure you don't see these that often. What are your main concerns about it?
My big concern is the wear on this pistol is completely wrong. But I know if it's a genuine prototype, it could be worth some ridiculous money.
That's correct. Let me take this book out here and let's make some comparison. Now, this book is the Patterson Colt book. It's written by R.L. Wilson. This is the definitive book on Colt Pattersons. Now, let's just lay that gun down there and make some observations. Look at the angle of the back strap here on this gun, and look at the angle here. This is much more severe. The lug on this barrel is much bigger than the one here. If you lay it on, look where the lug comes out on this. Now, if you look at all the models in this book, none of them look like this.
To me, it still looks like it's a prototype because of the position of those screws.
This screw right here appears to be a modern screw. You know, all these screws back then were handmade.
So, is it real?
In my opinion, it's not real. Everybody has those pipe dreams of finding something that's one of a kind in the bushes, so to speak, but that's pretty much a myth.
I would have loved for this thing to have been real and me give you $50,000 for it. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen today. Thanks.
Okay. Well, of course, I'm disappointed. I wish it was the real thing. I was telling myself continually, don't get over-enthused about it. It may be a fake.
What can I do for you?
I got a bike I build.
Hey, Corey, this guy has something you might want to check out.
All right, man. Pull it around back. I got a parking spot back there. Boom. You never really know what you're gonna get when it comes to homemade bikes, but I gotta at least take a look. Who knows? Maybe it'll actually be cool.
What in the hell is this?
125, stand up and ride. I've been working on this for about 9 years.
You're telling me 9 years and you didn't lose interest in building this thing?
Came down to the pawn shop today to sell my stand up and ride 125 scooter. I make them from the ground up. I bend all the tube, weld all the steel, everything on it except for the motor and the shocks. I need the money for some other projects I'm working on. I'm asking 21. I would probably take 1850.
So is this a prototype?
Yeah.
What made you actually want to build it?
You feel like the Bionic Man riding it because you're standing up doing 50. It's pretty cool.
You do 50 miles an hour standing up on a scooter?
Yeah, the fun is standing up, you know.
Yeah, I can see how kids could really get into it. I mean, literally since the 1800s, ever since they came up with small motors, they've been trying to figure out a way to put them on bicycles. Mercedes-Benz actually made a motorcycle with a steam engine on it. Wasn't real fast, and it sort of had a tendency to light the passenger on fire, but it's like a law of nature. Guys love motorcycles. They've been popular in the U.S. since the early 1900s, when Indian and Harley-Davidson hit the scene.
It's kickstart, obviously. There's your shifter. That's your rear brake, I'm assuming, back there?
Yeah. You put your foot on there like this, kind of, and then your foot under here for shifting up, and the clutch is up here, and then twist throttle, front brake. If you can ride a motorcycle, you can ride it.
That's actually pretty cool. I thought I'd seen every type of motorcycle, but nothing quite like this. Let me see you drive this thing.
All right, fair enough.
This looks like it could be a lot of fun to ride, but it's got such a high center of gravity, I think you might go head first into some concrete.
ridiculous.
Guys.
Okay. No.
That thing goes pretty fast for a scooter, man. How much you looking to get out of it?
I'd like to get about 21 for it.
You have a design here that you came up with by yourself, and no offense, but if it were made by Honda, I'd love to buy it.
Yeah.
Go out, create a market for it, sell 1,000 of them, bring one to me, and maybe I'll buy one.
Well, I think you guys are making a mistake, but everybody has their opinion, you know?
This guy wanted way too much for a homemade scooter. If I could have picked it up for a couple $100 bucks, maybe I could have sold it to someone looking for a fun time with it.